Time Machine travelers, Miss Z here, and I am so excited to be on Christmas break. I got to sleep in today, yes! I hope you're having a great time on Christmas break as well. I wanted to do a quick video and give you a holiday tour of my Christmas decor. You know, I'm a little Christmas crazy, so here we go. Now that you've seen an overview, I'm going to rewind a little bit and show you a few of my favorite things. Vintage ornaments are my absolute fave. This tree has several of those on it that I've collected throughout the years. Some of them are also newer and they're made to look vintage. These are just some random odds and ends ornaments that I brought from Ohio. On the fireplace, you can see some of my favorite pieces. This is the Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus that my grandma Ziegler made. I used to play with it when I was little, which is why it's a little bit shabby. But I sure loved that Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus, and I still do. This is a jewelry Christmas tree that my mom and I made last year. It's got some special pieces on there from my grandparents. I love stockings. Look how cute that one is. Just adore it. And here is a bunch of different special things. Miss Stewart made that for me. She knows how much I love Buddy. This is my shoe and purse tree. It was one of the first ones that I had in college, and still one of my favorites. Over here I have Mrs. Claus. This one was my old shoe and purse tree. Got a little bit too small. And this is a wood carving. I think it's from Germany. This tree is my fairy tale tree. Miss Chapel got me that ornament. That ballerina is from when I was younger. That Paris ornament is my fave. A carriage for Cinderella, of course. This is my pink and black tree. I noticed I was getting a lot of pink ornaments. How awesome do they look on a black tree? You know I love the beach, so of course I have a beach themed tree with all my favorite seashells, some of them homemade, some of them store-bought, and of course Santa chillin'. This is my everything tree. This is from Miss Chapel this year for Christmas, the Nutcracker. That one is from my sister. Those are hand painted from the inside. crazy. It's got so much detail. Paris. A plane because I love to travel. That's from one of my friends in Ohio. Oh, look! An elf got stuck in the tree. Oh, goodness. These are some of my favorites. Little circus animals. Look at his smile. Originally, they were supposed to be for my sister, but she didn't like them. So I adopted them. Because I think they're the cutest. This one is a new favorite from a student this year. Shout out to Montserrat. Isn't that the cutest? Look at that little snowman. I love it so much. Every year when I put it on my tree, I'll think of you. The world's best, most phenomenal tree topper. What? Way to go, Target. And some vintage ornaments from when I was younger. Oh, I love those little mice from Cinderella. There's the skyline of Houston. I made that last year. I think my grandma made that felt one right here. Some trolls. That one I know my grandma made. It has my birthday on the back of it. Got little cupcakes from Miss Chapel. She gets me a lot of Christmas ornaments. And oh, you have to check out this little mousy. Isn't he precious? These are love socks. My mom sewed those one year for a company to make money to buy us Christmas gifts. I think that was the year my dad and her made us a Barbie house, which was phenomenal. This one's from Angel. Angel, if you're watching, I got your ornament, girl. Every time I put it on my tree, I think of you. And y'all probably recognize this tree. I had to bring it home. I couldn't leave it in the library over Christmas break. Aw, look at that one. That's me when I was a baby. That's the 5th grade, I think. I loved that little costume. That cow costume. Look at me, just always wearing costumes, even in the 5th grade. There I am as a 2nd grader. There's kindergarten. Do you all have those ones that you made from school? You should save them forever because they're the best. Oh, I think that's 4th grade, maybe. These are some little roly-poly penguins. Can you see them on there? Those were for when I was little. I remember putting those on the tree. And these elves, how fun are they? And if you haven't noticed, I love Volkswagens. These are the best. Seen these before? They're like vintage replicas. Love those. These little s'more ornaments are so cute. I brought those from Ohio. Ah, there's my friend Brooke. She got me that ornament a couple years ago. I have to show you this. This was my mom's. My rainbow trees. I love those. Little vintage tree topper right there. Vintage Christmas is the best. And Chick-fil-A has to be represented. This is my favorite snowman. Poor little dude. He came to Texas and now he's melting. But guess what? It's been swell. And of course, we have to think about Jesus for Christmas. This is a little Advent nativity. Every day you get out a different piece. Jesus isn't there yet, but he's coming. This is my little nativity scene from San Antonio. Santa and Mrs. Claus. This is a teeny tiny nativity scene from Peru. Vintage reindeer, how cute is he? coming into the kitchen. Have to give a shout out to my girl Layla. She got me that cute nutcracker. Isn't he the best? And over here we have some goodies. Trees at the top, of course. Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Some vintage Christmas. These little elfies, oh my goodness, so cute. There's a little mouse, he's taking a nap in his candy cane bed. This is another nativity scene, also from San Antonio. It's orange, so I had to have it, you know, favorite color. This is where the elfies live when they're not busy at the North Pole. This is from the Little Time Machine teachers. They live in North Carolina, and we sure do miss them around Christmas time. Holiday card from Miss Becker. She hand drew. Amazing. Vintage Christmas. And there's more. Some vintage Santagrams. All of my wonderful cards from over the years. Naughty or nice, Santa's coming in 4 days. What? That can't be true. This is one of my favorite things. My best friend's kiddos helped me make this. That's their feet. This I painted when I lived in North Carolina. It was a gift from one of my students to go and paint that. So much fun. And my Hallmark Christmas tree. This one's super special because it has ornaments that make noise and light up. Let me show you one.
What is it?
Well, it's a leg.
But what is it?
Well, it's a leg, you know, like in a statue.
A statue?
Yeah, a statue.
The compass is only broken if you don't know how to read it, mate.
This one's my favorite. Check this out. My little teeny tiny tree. And if a mermaid had a house, this is what it would look like. These are some jingle bells. We used to wear those on our horse named Blue Boy when my stepdad played Santa for our town. And this is one of my favorites. It's a large nativity scene. You can't tell, but it kind of sparkles a little bit. There's sparklies on each one of the pieces. A student asked me once, "Missy, why do you love Christmas so much?" And I think it's because my mom and dad went to great lengths to make us believe in the magic. For example, when I was in second grade, I was pretty close to not believing in Santa anymore. And I wrote a letter saying, "Santa, if you're real, I want Rudolph's footprint in this piece of clay." We went to church, and when we came back, Santa had come, and there was a footprint in that piece of clay that I was positive belonged to Rudolph. I took that thing to school the next day, and I had the whole class believing that Santa was real, except for one kid. He was kind of the Grinch. But needless to say, I believed for a couple more years after that. Later I found out that my grandpa had come over while we were at church and took care of it with one of the deer that he had hunted. But at the time, it was magical, and I think that's the best part about Christmas. It's all about the magic of the season. One other thing I wanted to share with you, I found this book while I was unpacking some things from Ohio. My mom had gotten it back in the day when you could personalize books, and I think you still can today. But this one is especially written for Jenna Lee Ziegler with love from Dad and Mom. Now, I have to give you a little bit of context. My sister Natalie, as well as my cousin Joey, appear in this book. And this is my personal adventure with Rudolph. All the stars were twinkling brightly in the night blue sky. Boys and girls everywhere were snug in their beds, dreaming about candy canes and gingerbread, toys and packages with bright red ribbons. It was almost Christmas, and Santa Claus would soon be arriving. Jenna Lee Ziegler was sound asleep. Suddenly, she heard something strange. Right there in the room was a little reindeer with a shiny red nose. "Don't be afraid," the reindeer said in a friendly voice. "It's I, Rudolph. Santa told me you're just the girl to help me." "You see," Rudolph explained, "Santa's list is missing. It is very important. Without the list, we don't know where to take the toys this Christmas. The teddy bears are all worried. They're afraid they won't find a little boy or girl to love. There can't be a Christmas without love. I promised all the toys that I would find the list. Will you help me?" "Of course I'll help you," said Jenna Lee. "I'm sure the list isn't here," Rudolph said. "I guess we'd better look in the North Pole." "Can I bring my friend Joey?" asked Jenna Lee. "And Punky too?" That was my grandma's dog. "Sure," said Rudolph. "We need all the help we can get. We need some Christmas magic to help us fly to the North Pole. Let's see, do you believe in Santa Claus? You do, don't you? Well then, I think that's enough Christmas magic to start our journey." "Hop on my back and hold on tight," Rudolph said. As his nose got very bright, off they flew right out of the window and across the starry sky. Rudolph, Jenna Lee, Joey, and Punky headed right towards the brightest star in the sky, the North Star, and they looked down at her house. Maybe Natalie's not born yet. I can't remember. Maybe she's not in here. Poor Natalie. Then, before you could say jingle bells 3 times, they were right in front of Santa's workshop. All the lights were on, and there were lots of sounds coming from the inside. "The elves are very busy finishing the toys for Santa," Rudolph explained. "Let's ask them if they've seen Santa's list." They opened the door and looked into the workshop. There were all kinds of toys waiting to be taken to all the good little girls and boys. There were bicycles, dolls, planes, trains, cuddly toys, and lots more. One of the elves was very busy painting a bright yellow rocking horse. He looked up when Rudolph and his friends came in. "We are looking for Santa's list," Rudolph explained. "Have you seen it?" "Oh no," said the elf. "All I've seen is lots of paint. Look at all the colors. I'm sure Santa's list isn't here. Why don't you ask the music box elves?" Rudolph listened carefully and could faintly hear music. The music led them right into a room full of music boxes. There were music boxes with tiny ballerinas spinning on top and little merry-go-rounds going round and round. There was a different tune coming from each box. "Excuse me," Rudolph said loudly. "We are trying to find Santa's list." "I can hear you just fine," said the elf with a chuckle. "The list isn't here. Try asking the drum makers." Boom, 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 rat-a-tat-tat, boom, boom, boom. "Dear me," said Rudolph, "this room is even louder. I don't think Santa would have left his list here. Let's look in a quiet place." Then they saw all the soft, cuddly toys. Over in one corner, all the teddy bears were gathered. "We're so worried," said the littlest teddy bear. "Nobody has found Santa's list, and we don't know which little boy or girl asked for us this Christmas." A great big teddy bear tear dropped onto his cheek. "Don't cry, we'll find it," said Gently. "Let's go ask Mrs. Claus. Maybe Santa left the list there in Mrs. Claus's kitchen. You know, her gingerbread cookies are Santa's favorite." Wonderful smells of gingerbread and cinnamon filled the kitchen. Mrs. Claus was very busy putting icing on the gingerbread houses. All along one shelf, gingerbread cookies were standing in a line. There was gingerbread boys and girls, gingerbread bells and stars, and even gingerbread reindeer. Rudolph liked that best. "Oh, Rudolph," Mrs. Claus called, "have you found Santa's list yet?" "No, we haven't," replied Rudolph. "We thought Santa may have left it here." "Oh dear," said Mrs. Claus. "It isn't here, but please take a warm gingerbread cookie with you." "Thank you," they all said. "Don't worry, we'll find Santa's list." Outside the kitchen, they found themselves in a room filled with candy canes. It was very cool and smelled like peppermint. Peppermint candies were hanging everywhere. "Let's take a candy cane before we check the Christmas tree," said Rudolph. The Christmas tree was beautifully decorated with lots of colorful lights and ornaments. "Look at all the sparkly colors," said Gently. "There are blue, green, red, yellow, and orange, but no list." The elves were starting to load Santa's sleigh for the special night. They loaded all of the wonderful toys they'd worked on all year. "Santa will be leaving soon," said Rudolph. "We've got to find the list in a hurry." "Where else can we look?" asked Joey. "We've looked everywhere, Rudolph." Rudolph was so sad that his nose was barely glowing. Suddenly, Gently said, "I know! Let's check one place. Follow me!" Rudolph and Joey quickly followed. Punky followed too. Rudolph and the children found themselves in Santa's mailroom surrounded by stacks and stacks of letters. All the letters started with "Dear Santa." "How can we ever find a list in here?" said Rudolph. They looked around the room, and just then, Gently spotted something on Santa's desk. "Here it is! We found it!" Gently picked up the missing list from underneath Santa's glasses. "Santa must have left it here when he was reading his letters," exclaimed Joey. Rudolph's nose shone brightly. The happy group found Santa standing near his sleigh. "The teddy bears were getting worried," said Santa. "Did you find the list?" "Yes," said Rudolph, "thanks to our new friends." "Ho, ho, ho," said Santa. "I knew you could do it." The teddy bears danced with joy. "Gently found the list right where Santa had left it," said Rudolph. The elves shouted, "Hooray for Gently!" "Thank you," Santa said. "Without Gently, Joey, and Punky, we wouldn't have had a very Merry Christmas, now would we? Your names are going to get a special star on the list." Rudolph was so proud. "We've got to get you home. You'll have presents to open soon." Gently, Joey, and Punky hopped in the sleigh with Santa. "Ho, ho, ho," said Santa as they glided on their way. Rudolph's nose glowed the brightest ever. So now you can see why I believed. And that's it for the Holiday Tour 2019. Thank you so much for watching. Now I'm just going to kick back and enjoy a nice hot cup of cocoa from one of my favorites. Thank you, Kennedy. I appreciate it. Smells delicious. I'm going to head on over and watch one of my favorite Christmas movies. Any guesses what that might be? Have a very Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, and I'll see you next year. Thanks for watching. Don't be afraid, the reindeer. Off they flew, right into the window. Sounds like the Learning Commons at lunch. Boom, boom, boom. Why is this ball not staying? You'll have